Hi everyone, it's Peg, and I am going to do a short video. This is going on my blog. I'm doing a Stencil Girl post, and you know I love my Stencil Girl stencils. As you can see, my well-worn Stencil Girl stencils, I use them. I cut them apart. I do all kinds of things to them. So what I wanted to do today was show you how I create several different types of parent sheets. These are things that can be used in other types of art, in mail art, whatever. So here we go. Let's get started. So one of the things that I like to do is to alter my stencils and make them my own. I like to see the artist's hand in what's being created. So you can see I've taken this particular stencil. It was a 6x6. It had some cutout openings in the corners that I didn't really want to use, and I want to use that on my parent sheet here. So I've selected a few colors of Americana paint just to get me started. I'm going to start by creating a resist using gesso. So I have some gesso here, and I have a sponge, and I'm just going to take some of that gesso out and put it on my craft sheet right here. And I'm going to start selecting where I want this. Now I'm not going to position it, you know, smack dab in the middle of my page. I'm going to load up my sponge with the gesso, making sure I don't have it too heavy, but I do want to load on there. And then I'm just going to stencil the gesso onto my background. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. This has the gesso on it, and I'm going to set that aside to dry because I'm going to move on and show you another technique while that's waiting. I have selected some colors. I have primary yellow, true ochre, Tuscan red, and espresso that I'm going to work with now. And I'm going to start with my lightest color, and over here on my craft mat I'm just going to put a very small amount of that color, and I'm going to work with a brayer, and I'm just going to work that color onto my brayer very lightly, and then I'm just going to come in lightly on my paper and add that color. And I want to keep working until all that color is used up. I think I need just a tad more. That was just a little too skimpy a dot. But I want to apply that in kind of a cross hatch pattern. I don't really want this going all kinds of directions. I want to, you know, come in here and do more of a crisscross pattern, or, you know, geometric pattern. I don't really like things going haphazardly. I like to have this controlled in some fashion, and that's how I control it, is by the direction in which I'm putting my paint on. Okay, so you can see that now that is dry and the paint on the paper is pretty much dry. So let me get this out just a ways so you can see a little bit more. Sorry. Been playing around with my setup here. Okay, so I have my first color down. Now I'm going to come in with, that was primary yellow, I'm going to pick the ochre and just put that out here like so. That was a little bit more. Get that blended onto my brayer. And you can see what we're doing is we're just building up layers. And I think that's pretty much dry now. So I can move on to the next color. And this is pretty much dry also. Next color is Tuscan Red. And this is going to be very bright on there. So I think I'm going to move to a little bit smaller brayer. And when you do this, you just want to be very light-handed with your brayer. You can see I barely have a hold of my brayer. You don't want to force it. You just want to, you know, spread your paint out and be very light-handed. So I'm going to add some of that beautiful Tuscan Red. And you can see as the layers start to build, you're going to see the colors coming through from the background. Turn this around this way. And it's just a real quick and easy way of applying your paint. To your parent sheet. And you want to work with this until all that paint is dry and gone off of your, there's even a little bit up there, let me grab that, gone off of your, you know, this is dry. You can see it's rubbing up, it's dry. So you want to work until it is completely dry on your craft sheet. All right, so that was the third color. Next color is Espresso. And I'm going to come back in with my little brayer again. Get that worked out. You can see some places where it was a little heavier handed, but don't worry about that because we're gonna take care of that. This is kind of a dark, so it helps knock some of those bright colors back. I think we're about dry. Now, I'm going to add some white just to kind of get that blended together. Go back here with my brayer. You see what that's doing? It's kind of pushing that into the background now. Okay, so that was my color palette. Okay, so this is the basic background. I decided I want more layers, so I'm going to come back with those same colors, and I've got a little bitty brayer this time, and what I want to do is lose some of the harsh lines that are in here, so I'm just going to very lightly come back on here with those colors, brightening this up a bit. I think I need just a smidge more of that color. So remember, we started with Americana paint. Now, to go with those paints, which are these, I've chosen another palette, and this palette comes from Archival Inks. So I have an assortment of Archival Inks that I'm going to work with. And I have some stencils. And I have an assortment of stencils because I want to have differing colors and textures on here. Now this is one of those ones I was talking about. This is a Tracy Batista stencil, and you can see it has all kinds of lovely pieces on here that can be used. But you know me, what did I do? I cut it apart because I'm using different pieces of this particular stencil, and I love this flower here, so I'm going to grab some of this archival. This is in a vermilion, and I'm just going to put that flower in a couple of places by adding that ink. And because this is an ink now, it is translucent, and you'll be able to see those other color layers underneath. So you see what you get with that. So I'm going to move around the page and just add that floral design into the background with that lovely vermilion ink. And it doesn't have to be all over the page. I'm just doing more layers. I'm just adding more layers. So if I have 5 or 7 or something like that, that's good for me. And be sure you turn your stencil so that it isn't always going in the same direction. These are those sponge tools, and I like them for just applying color application in this fashion. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more up here, and then I think I'll be done with my flower. So that's good. And then also has some other cool images. I may come back to that, but additionally I have these little stencils. These are some Seth Apter stencils. I think I like that circle one. So for that, I'm going to try the yellow, see if it shows up. This is called Dandelion. See if we can get this to show up with Dandelion. This will be just a real subtle effect in the background. Oh yeah, can you see that? And this is how we build those layers onto our parent sheet. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, there are other things that you can do. You saw me jelly printing the other day. These, if you didn't, I'll try to put a link in, but these are deli papers that are just jelly printed. And you can take portions of this to put onto your parent sheet. So like if I wanted to continue to build here, I could take some strips and I could add strips of the deli paper in here to get an entirely different effect. You know, so you can just keep building and building. So let's get back to where we started. I have this piece here, and I still have that same color palette out. So I'm going to start with that lightest color, which is that Buttercup. And I'm going to apply some of that to this gessoed piece. Alright, so for the next step, what I like to use are stamps, and because I didn't really have stamps that went with what I was doing here, what I did was I took some foam, and it's just whatever I have lying around, this is some thicker foam, this is some sticky back foam sheets, and you can see these are stamps that I have made from foam, just by cutting out foam and sticking it down. So what did I do? I took my foam and put my stencil onto my foam and got a pattern and made my own stamps that coordinate with my paper. So now I'm going to come in with those same colors that we've been using. For this one, I have some Seth Apter stamps that coordinate with some of the designs that I have on here already. I'm going to grab a stamping block. So I can easily manipulate this. I have those same colors of ink out here, and so I'm going to use these to make more texture in my background. Okay, and that was the red, and I think over here on this one I will also do some of these flowers. Now what I can do with this, since it's harder to handle, is just get some sticky tape, and let's tape a couple of these others down while we're at it. Here's a little bitty one. And okay, so now I'm going to ink this up and I'm going to stamp. You see what I get is this nice image. That we made ourselves. How about that? Can you see where the gesso is resisting the ink? That's kind of cool. Okay, I think that's enough of that one. Then we have this smaller one, and I'm going to do that in this dandelion. Yeah, I think that's good. And then over here, I have something else for texture. One of Seth's. I think we're good. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and come back and visit my channel again. If you like this, you can click on the subscribe down in the lower right corner. Thank you.